All right, so in this video, I'm going to be going over the 5 things I wish I would have known about surfing before I started. And there might even be more than that. So the first one is therapeutic. So, if I'm having a bad day, if I'm anxious or, whatever it may be, or just pissed off at the world, by going to surf, it allows you to not think about anything else. You're just thinking about the waves coming in and out. You're thinking about trying to get on the waves and that kind of thing. So it enables you to get rid of all the head trash that you got going on. Forget about that, and between the surfing, the exercise aspect and all that, well then for me, I feel 10 times better after I'm done surfing. Number 2, there's a lot of strategy involved. When I wasn't surfing, I just look out and just see you guys, sitting on the board and, catching waves. But the more and more I look at it, there's a lot of stuff going on. When you first get out into the water, or actually before you even go out into the water, you really want to survey what's going on, how the waves are breaking, because there's a lot of different types of waves. I didn't realize there was, the closeouts and the left hand and the right hand sides and all that kind of stuff. And, before I would just jump out there, I wouldn't really think about anything. I would just kind of go to where everyone else is. But then the more and more I'm, learning, reading, and, watching videos, that kind of thing, I'm realizing that depending on the type of break that you're looking for, you have to go to different parts of the beach. So, and just because everyone's going to a certain location doesn't mean it's the best location. And then also, just because that was a great location today doesn't mean it's going to be a great location tomorrow. Depending on the tides and how everything's set up, things are constantly changing. So you have to reevaluate what you're doing all day to make sure you're in the right spot. Because if you're not in the right spot, well, you're not going to catch any waves, right? The next one is, I did not realize how physically demanding this sport is. Again, if you're not surfing, and before I learned how to surf, you're just watching guys on the board and catching waves. How hard could that be, right? Wow. It is so tough. Even the first time getting on the board, and I started on a foam board, which most people do. Probably should have started on an 8-foot board, but they only had 7.5, so I did that. But just the stabilizer muscles just to kind of paddle out is super difficult in the very beginning. You're constantly flopping over and you're worried about looking like a moron. But not even that, it's so physically demanding getting out into the waves, especially if you're on a particular day where the waves just keep coming and coming and coming and there's no end in sight. It's extremely difficult to get out there. And, it's not even just the, with the muscles, but it's also very cardio, just trying to get out to where you need to be. So I wish I would have probably spent more time on that. Basically, a lot of the, shoulders and the back is where you need a lot, lower back, especially when you're doing extensions and whatnot, to be able to raise your head up so that way you're not hurting your neck while you're paddling, and also so you can see the waves. The next part is meeting a ton of awesome and not so awesome people. So where I surf, it's a very, I'm in South Jersey. So if there's not a lot of, actually, let's rephrase that. So in the summertime, there's a shit ton of people. And then also in the very early fall, there's a ton of people, surfing. And what happens is, there's awesome people I meet. There's a school teacher I met down there, super friendly, awesome person, and just, I do yoga as well, or actually I'm about to get back into it. And it seems like more of that mindset, the super chill people, just kind of the earth kind of thing, forget about all the anxieties and everything else and just kind of just be in the moment. And it's super helpful. Again, if you have anxiety or, depression or whatever else, it's really helpful when you can just let go of everything and just focus on one thing. Because a lot of times, everything that all this head trash that we got going on, it's a lot worse in our head than it is actually in the real world. So it's nice to just kind of get all that crap out of there and just focus on catching waves and stuff like that. And then also meeting some not so awesome people, especially when you're first starting start out and it's super crowded or whatever else. And I would try to intentionally stay away from people just because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And, but there's going to be locals that, and looking at it now, I understand, but they get pissed off because they do take it as like personally as like that's their location, and you got all the people coming down for the summer and winter, or summer and early fall, and so they're territorial. So, but there's only been a handful of that. Especially, for me, I'm 37, just started surfing. So when you got these younger kids and stuff like that, actually the kids are fine. It's actually the older adults, the ones that are in their like 50s, 60s that are a pain in the ass. But but they're very far from the norm. Most people are super chill, at least in my aspect or what I've seen personally, especially if, I basically would just stay away from them. And then if they came close, especially in the beginning, I'd be like, look, if I'm in your way, let me know. I literally have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just trying to figure stuff out. And most of them will be okay at that point, or they will intentionally just get away from you because they don't want to get hit by like a board or something like that. Probably the last thing, number 5, is it's like taking over all my thinking. It's like an OCD kind of thing now, where it's like I can't think of anything else but surfing. And right now, like I was down the shore for the summertime, but now I'm about an hour and a half away. So at this point, what I do is I'll go down I try to get down at least once a week, and then if not twice a week. But it's taking over my life. Like it literally is, because it's finding that one thing you really, really like that is good for you physically, mentally, like, and you actually enjoy it on top of it. Like, there's not too many things in life that will do that for you. And the other nice part, let's go with number 6. There's, a decent amount of upfront cost, but then after that, like, there's really not much of anything, so in the beginning, you're going to start with a foam board. And depending on the weather conditions, you may or may not need a wetsuit. If you're starting in the summertime, depending where you're located, you may not need a wetsuit. But even if you do, there is on Amazon, I think for my first one, because I didn't even start trying to surf, I was trying to do the kite surfing deal. But that was, I don't know, it was like $80 for the wetsuit, and it was good enough. And then as the water got colder, I had to invest in a better one. And then the board was like $200. I had since bought a new one, but we didn't really need that. So, you might spend like, in the beginning, if you need a wetsuit and a board, like you might spend about $400. But after that, like you're pretty much free. Like just hop in and like life is good. The other thing I want to talk about, so I guess this would be number 7, is it's super easy to, if you're located near the water, it's not one of those things where you have to do a lot of planning. Like literally look on an app to see how the wave conditions are going to be and check out like the wind. But other than that, like you literally, like the part I loved about it is whenever I wanted to go, I just chuck my board onto my bike, head down, and I could surf for an hour or two, come back, and I was good to go. So there wasn't a lot of time commitment, which is super nice, because I do like things like golf and stuff like that. But like that's like 4+ hours for a round, and plus it's not cheap. Like you have to you have a couple $100 expense for all your clubs and stuff, and then on top of that, then you need to pay the the fees, like the cart fees and stuff like that. So like you'd be looking at $30-40 at a shot. So it's not that bad to go surfing. So anyway, that's the things I have. I'll do more videos like this, but I thought it would be super helpful for people that are just getting into it. And then, yeah, have a great day. See ya.